coming up on the Lead Ministry Podcast.
I know how tech adoption goes, and what likely happened is those first churches to get a website, people thought, well, that's kind of cute. That's kind of cute that you're doing this tech weird thing that you're doing, like a church website. Like, why would we need that? It seems like such a waste of resources and time, you know?
Yeah. Now your host, Josh Denhart.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast. We are in the middle of talking about digital ministry. Guess what? If nobody has alerted you, it is the 21st century, and things are done different than they were done in the church in 1956. We need to grow and morph with the times. Well, we're grateful that you're here. My name is Josh Denhart, and we are excited that you are with us on this particular episode. Now, I just want to let you know that we are here for you, right? We're here at leadministry.com to help you get organized, to stop the revolving door of volunteers, reach people for Christ while all at the same time preventing burnout. We create a lot of helpful digital tools and resources, whether it's videos, courses, downloads that you can copy, paste, and make quick work. We want to help you become everything that you were created to be as a pastor. And it's a lot of work, Bill, isn't it?
Oh, it's a ton of work, but rewarding.
It's rewarding work. It is rewarding work.
Yes.
Well, on our last episode, or a couple of episodes ago, I can't remember, we were talking about how the church needs to be transitioning toward this digital era. And Paul said these great words. He said, to a Jew I became a Jew, to a Gentile I became a Gentile. I will become all things to all people, so that by all means I might reach some. And so we need to become students of the culture that we're in. Bill, have you ever been on a missions trip?
Oh yeah, I've been on multiple missions trip. I love missions.
Let's imagine that you and I went on a missions trip, and then we just legitimately felt called by God to go to a different country and seek to share the good news with them. What would we need to do? Let's pick a country, Latvia. I just picked it out of my head. If we went to Latvia, what would we need to do?
I think we would need to study the culture. We would need to know what it's like to live in Latvia. We need to know what the people of Latvia are into.
Yeah. We would need to know how, like, what's normal there? What's their schedule? What are they into? What's their history? What should you never say? What should you always say? What's that?
Right.
What are all the things? Because this is called missiology. It is taking the unchanging message of Jesus Christ and contextualizing it for a particular group of people. And we think that so naturally when we're going to a different country, we don't often think about it for our very own country.
That is a really good point. It's true.
That we need to be thinking about, okay, whoa. If I were to go to Latvia, I would begin to try to think, eat, breathe, move like a Latvian. Well, I live in West Des Moines, Iowa. I need to become a West Des Moines Iowanian, and I can become completely entrenched and not think about my culture and not think about what people are doing, because you're just living your very own life. So you need to step out. You need to be a very good missionary to your own community. Well, we're talking a ton about digital ministry, and one of the things about digital ministry is your church's website. It's a big one. The importance of a church website. It sounds like a no-brainer, but Bill, there was a time not that long ago that somebody at every one of our churches was like, or a legacy church, let's say, that they were like, I think we need to have a website. Okay, now what is this interweb you're speaking of? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there was a time when no church had a website. And then there was a time that some were early adopters. And then before too long, I actually can't, unless you're Amish, and I'm not trying to speak that as a pejorative, but if you're not in the Amish church, I would be highly surprised if you didn't have a website.
Oh yeah, I would too. Yeah. But it is interesting to think about like those first churches,
isn't it?
You know, because I know how this goes. Actually, I know how tech adoption goes, And what likely happened is those first churches to get a website, people thought, well, that's kind of cute. That's kind of cute that you're doing this tech weird thing that you're doing, like a church website. Like, why would we need that? It seems like such a waste of resources and time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. If let me take a step even further. That somebody out there was going to be holding a very large stone about the size of a softball, just ready to throw it at those ding-dongs who are creating this billboard in the interwebs.
It's so true.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? Today, though, the church website, like not having a church website is kind of like not having a front door of your church. Like if you just walled off the front of your church and people show up to the parking lot and they see your sign and they're like,
where would I even? There's no front door. This is weird. This is weird.
This is weird. Do we walk around back? What's happening here?
Yeah, that is so true. I never thought about it like that. A website is so critical. There's so many functions of a website. Mm-hmm. Information, right? Basic information and sermons and ways to give and ways to sign up for stuff, ways to find out about the next upcoming thing. Ways to sign up to serve, to all of a sudden go, I can't serve this week. I want to switch out and serve third week. People's church websites are performing all of these functions.
Yeah.
And there's everything good about that. There's nothing wrong with it at all. But there was a point where somebody was like, that's dumb. And now you're crazy to not have that. And it's so normal. But I got to tell you, there are some bad ones out there, Bill, and we're going to talk about that today. So talking about the importance of a church website, we're walking through this lead digital piece. Well, let's define it. We're going to develop it, and we're going to finally do it. And so what is what I call digital first impression? Bill, by the way, what is a first impression?
Yeah, it's like the very first time you meet somebody. It's like the sense that you get from the very first time you meet somebody.
I like that. The sense that you get when you first interact with somebody. What's your first, and you know what, of course, everybody knows, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And so we've taken this word first, F-I-R-S-T. It's now become a 5-point acronym with each of those letters, F-I-R-S-T, a digital first impression. So all of this good content is kind of encapsulated in our one-stop shop course called Lead Digital, how to become a successful change agent for digital ministry within the local church in the context in which you live. Well, let's talk about these website first impressions. Well, again, this is this acronym F-I-R-S-T, and as it relates to your website, you want to have a good first impression. Well, those letters first stand for your website needs to be F, fast. Your website needs to be I, interactive. Your website needs to be R, responsive. We'll talk about what that means in a minute. Your church website, S, needs to be secure. And finally, T, it needs to have what I call turnkey automation. You need to have a fast, interactive, responsive, secure, and turnkey automated website. That is going to be a wonderful 21st century website first impression, Bill.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you take one of these out, you're in trouble already. just one of them.
Yeah, I think you're right. So let's actually dig a little bit deeper. What does each letter of first stand for, and what does it mean? We kind of defined it. Let's develop it a little bit. Well, I call this first F, fast, lightning fast website. Bill, tolerable wait times have decreased to just 2 seconds. Now, a fast website is super important. A lack of speed is a serious business need and a serious church need. Either be fast or be completely ineffective. Bill, I have to be honest with you. maybe I am a super impatient person, but if I go to a website and it's taking what I call infinity, I'm so sad to say that 20 seconds is infinity online.
Mm-hmm.
If it's taking that long to load, I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm moving on. Crazy.
I guarantee you that if somebody tries to load your website and it takes 20 seconds, people are not going to think necessarily that it's your site that's bad. They're going to think the internet's down. Because nothing loads that slow anymore.
Nothing does unless your church is digitally dysfunctional.
Right. Absolutely.
And there are some really easy ways to solve this. Now, I don't want to get way too much in the weeds, but Bill, it's as simple as having what's called a dedicated server. Now, stick with me. This is my best analogy. You're significantly smarter than me, so tear this to shreds. But a server is the digital version that is the equivalent to me having a storage unit for my physical goods. Now, down the road, there's 2 different storage units. I actually rent one. I have a storage unit for some things that we do. And inside of that storage unit, I have some of my physical items. In the same way, I have some web storage. And it's off in the interspheres someplace, but it's really on a rack someplace in some building, and there's a hard drive that has my stuff. Now, I happen to have what's called a dedicated server as opposed to a shared server. Stick with me. Let's say that I have all of my physical storage in a storage unit, and it has one door in and one door out, but it has 200 storage unit doors on the inside. And let's imagine that on one day, 180 of those 280 people who have those storage units, they all wanted to access their physical goods inside of that storage unit. And 181 of them were all trying to go in and out of that one door with their physical goods, like a couch, like a storage box, like a whatever swag they have physically stored. The likelihood of me getting in and out of that storage unit because of the pinch point of that one door and 180 people wanting to access that at the same time, pinch point, it's going to take me a long time to get my stuff out of my physical storage unit. Bill, would you agree?
Totally agree.
In the same way, if you have a shared server with 200 other websites and those websites are having high traffic, then whoever's coming to your website, that person has to now wait in line for those other websites to be accessed in the order in which they were received. And then they finally get to yours, and then the internet feeds back to that end user. Here's what you were wanting to access. I don't want that, so I have a dedicated server. What does that mean? Push pause. Instead of having my physical stuff in a building with one door and 200 people who can access that at any time only through that one door, my storage unit is I have my own door that I can access at any time. Nobody gets in my way. And all 200 people at that storage unit, they can access that at any time you just got to have the key. Well, I have a dedicated server. There's one door in, one door out, and it's only my content. Only my content is sitting on that server. I pay for that space like I pay for physical space. Bill, is that a good analogy?
That's a great analogy. I love how you brought it to the physical, because that really is what is happening there.
Yeah, and the digital thing is so spatial. It's so hard to get your hands around, but I think that one makes a lot of sense. And so therefore, if your church's website is slow, it's as simple as getting a dedicated server. And it's not that expensive, Bill.
No, it's not that expensive. And lest you think that this is like, you don't have to have your own physical piece of media in your home or in your church, like actually operating this. This is actually happening on the cloud. But what's happening out there is they've given you your own piece of real estate for your website. Yes.
And so then it's a dedicated server. and it's accessible super fast. So listen, if your church website loads slowly, it's a really bad first impression. Let's talk about a second good or bad first impression. A good website is an interactive website. There's interactive engagement. Interactivity on a website creates this interactive experience. It creates a sticky experience where people are going to be sticking around on your website longer, watch this now, leveraging eyes, ears, hands, and emotions, because the longer they stay on your website, the better. Am I right?
Absolutely.
And so from an interactivity standpoint, Bill, talk to me, or let's talk about what some of those sticky, interactive engagement type things are. On my website, if you hover over this box, the box automatically flips and people are like, oh, that changed. That in and of itself is an interactive website. They did something and the website did something right back to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell once you know that these are how things work, you can tell immediately when a website is not interactive. And some of it is just really simple. Like, we've built our website so that when you scroll down, instead of it just all kind of being there, it kind of reveals itself. It's got like this little subtle animation as you're like going down, and it makes it feel like things are unfolding for you, as opposed to it's just all like somebody took a sheet of paper, took a picture of it and put it on the web.
Yes. And so there are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of these things. Maybe it's a pop-up. If you've been on the website for 20 seconds, there's going to be a pop-up. Hey, would you like to find out more about? Maybe it's, hey, here's our latest sermon. Click here. And then it forces a new window and that sermon is playing. There's a lot of these things. Another great one is when churches have a top banner that is a video of either their worship team or of happy faces interacting at their church. That's interactive. Yeah. I'm now watching. I'm like, wow, this looks like a group of people that I would like to be with. That's an interactive website experience.
Right. And by the way, this is just maybe a pet peeve of mine, but please have actual pictures of your people in your church. Do not just throw stock photos in there.
That's right.
Because I've seen that on some churches where it's just like, we found the most perfect people in these stock photos. And then you're scrolling through there and you're like, what is going on? It's like, It would be like this. It would be like going to Walgreens and buying one of the frames that you can put your pictures in, but then not actually putting your pictures in there, just looking at the pictures of the perfect people in there.
and then put those on your like coffee table. People are like, who are these people? I have no idea.
I just like them.
They're the Walgreens people. They're the Walgreens. What?
Yeah, don't do that on your
don't
website.
do that. And then all of a sudden, like, if you have been, this is so funny because I live in kind of an internet digital world in some ways, and I have seen that person on multiple web pages where I'm like, oh, your stock image 02497AFJ. That's who they are. And it's like, wow, they make their rounds, man. They're bouncing around the country, bro. No, they're a stock image. So don't do that. Oh,
yeah, don't do that. And don't do what I've seen some churches do as well with this is now people are starting to use AI images on their web page. And it's like, we took an empty picture of our lobby, and then we asked AI to generate people in our lobby. Like, no, just take a picture of people in your lobby on a Sunday morning, and that is enough for people to know what your church is like.
And guess what? People who are shopping for your church, they're going to go to your website before they come to your church if they're a normal 21st century person. Don't do a bait and switch. Don't catfish people who are coming to your church.
Right.
By the way, for those of you who don't understand what catfishing is, it's a dating term where you've met online. This person is pretending to be like this elite athlete, and they, are all these great things. And then all of a sudden you meet him and you're like, dude, you portrayed yourself as a 28-year-old super fit person. You are 49, completely overweight, and I don't know that your body has actually seen the sun for a decade.
Yeah. Don't catfish people.
You are not the same person. And so your church can do a terrible thing by portraying themselves to be something that they truly are not.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Dude, don't even start with me. So your church website needs to be fast, F. It needs to be I, interactive, to have a positive, what I'm going to call digital first experience or a first interaction. Another one, R, responsive. It needs to be elegantly responsive. Now, Bill, on the screen, you can see a little infographic there. And there is a computer, there is a tablet, and there is a phone. Now, you need to ensure that your content is elegantly viewable on all electronic devices. If your website is not mobile ready, your church is not ready to reach people in the 21st century.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the majority of people are using their phones to access the internet now. Sometimes tablet.
87% was the last I looked.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So if you load your church website on your phone, on your very own phone, you can do an audit right now. Load your church website. If you're having to do a bunch of pinch and scrolling and moving around and trying to zoom in your fingers to see what the service times are, that's a problem. It should be mobile responsive, which means that it actually changes its format based on what device you're on.
That's right. So if your website has to be smart enough to know, is this person on a laptop? Is this person on a tablet? Or is this person on a phone? And if your website isn't intelligent enough to know which device somebody is looking at your website through, then you don't have a responsive website. This whole pinch and move thing, it so cracks me up. I'm like immediately, that is a death, like the kiss of death to a website. If I go to a church, I speak in 65 churches a year, dude. And I often will go to their website and I'm like, and I have to pinch and move. I'm like, oh no. No, sad, because they're not with the times. Now watch this. If in fact you can access your church website on your phone, but you can also take on your desktop, you can take your internet window, which is formatted to your screen, and then you can just grab the corner and minimize it so that it becomes a phone size, and you can watch your website either stack up and it's showing that it's responsive, and it's rearranging the content to be mobile friendly, or your website, it's not. You'll be able to tell that on a desktop or on a phone. Bill, I have to correct myself. I said the last time I looked, it was 87% of users. I just looked it up as we're on this podcast. Here's what it says. The vast majority of people who use the internet on their phones, 96% of people are accessing the internet, bing, 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 on a phone. If your church's website isn't responsive, you're doomed. That is not going to be a really good first, FIRST, impression. Well, the next one, Bill, is secure. And secure, I've coupled that with the word encrypted. Now, the internet is a cesspool of fraudulence. Safety must be a priority. For people need to feel emotionally and financially secure on your website. Safely do business with third-party managed SSL certified giving. If your church does not, if all of a sudden, somebody goes to your church website, it's kind of like, hey man, could I hold your credit card? Could I touch your credit card real quick? And obviously you get this creepy, have you ever been to a website where you're like, bro, leave right now?
Yes, absolutely.
I've been to those.
You're like, what is this sketchy checkout page? What is going on here?
Yes. And all of a sudden, because of all of the scams that have happened, we're kind of clued in to be like, run And then you exit that website. So I'm not entering any information into this thing. So when all of a sudden somebody goes to your church website and it has this stench of antiquity, it has this stench of like it's not secure, that's a bad thing. By the way, the vast majority of churches who succeeded through COVID were churches who had at least 60% of their giving coming in through an automated, reoccurring, secure space that was accessible through their website.
Oh yeah, that's 100% true. Yep. And this also allows people, that same technology allows people to give reoccurring giving, which creates a lot of stability for churches.
It sure does. And so if your website reeks of insecurity, you're not having a good digital first impression. Another one, Bill, this is the most important in my opinion, is called FIRST, Turnkey Automation. Scale processes, working smarter, not harder. Bring 21st century solutions to save time, automate everything, and win. This is a critical one as it relates to a website. Now, Bill, as it relates to what I call turnkey automation, one of those important things is that if somebody clicks on the pop-up, there's your interactive piece, and they're like, oh yeah, I would like to get that download of the thing, the sermon note or the whatever, this really cool thing for my family. I want to do the Christmas devotional, right? So you click on that, you put in your first name, last name, email, your phone number, and it goes, thank you. And then automatically you receive that devotional in your email inbox. That's turnkey automation. In other words, the website has been set up in such a way to automatically deliver that, as opposed to somebody signs up for something at your church, waits until Monday morning until an actual office secretary person or an administrative assistant or one of the pastors goes, oh, someone wanted that over the weekend. I shall send that to them right now. And then they physically do that. It takes the human being out, and it's whatever happens on the website can be automatically delivered. That's a simple one.
Right. Yeah, that's simple. And when you were saying that, I was thinking about the church newsletter, which a lot of times now is digital for people. You don't want somebody basically sending you an email and saying, I want to have the newsletter every week. And now you open your Microsoft Excel spreadsheet and add them to your spreadsheet. And then you have to check every week. Well, somebody canceled, somebody added, this person doesn't want it. No, that's a nightmare. Stop doing all of that. All of those things can be completely automated now, right? There are services that you can easily integrate into your website where, hey, somebody says, I want to sign up. It automatically adds them to the list and begins sending them email. Somebody says, I don't want this anymore. Guess what? It'll automatically take them off of your thing. You're not doing anything. You're just focusing in on the content that your church needs. And your website, along with some web services, are doing all of that work for you.
All of the heavy lifting. That's right. I often think about a silly analogy that I have made before, where all of a sudden the church has now hired somebody to sit by a physical phone, and it's probably corded, by the way. It's probably a corded phone. I'm sorry. But they're sitting by a corded phone, and they are waiting for anybody to call to ask a question about the gospel. And that's their whole job. And it's like, hey, during the day, they're doing regular work, and they're willing to get interrupted by a phone call. But as soon as the day ends and the church closes, somebody's got to sit there. Somebody has to sit there because somebody might want to hear the good news. And so who's it going to be? Who's on call? Who's going to stay up all night and sit there and wait for the off chance that somebody wants to hear the good news? Well, that doesn't sound very efficient, Bill. And so a 21st century turnkey automated experience would be somebody visits your website. Maybe you've even got some social media that says, hey, if you're struggling, click here. and it takes you to the website, a specific page in your website that has this wonderful set of archived videos. And your church has 42 different videos that are short and bite-sized that say, if you're struggling with this, click here. And somebody clicks there and they watch a video, and then there's some scripture references. That is serving people in a 21st century way. And people are like, you think people are actually clicking that? I know for a fact they're clicking that. For a fact. And so I know that sounds like a corny example where you're expecting somebody to sit by a telephone. But if the gospel is that important, wouldn't you want to make it accessible 24/7 in a relevant way that people could access that? Again, this is coming up with what I call turnkey automation. So let's close this off. How to conduct a church website audit. Well, basically, go to your church website on different devices, check its speed, check its interactivity, check its responsiveness. Do you have to pinch and move? Have somebody else look at your church website. Not you. You may be too close to it, Bill. Check for turnkey automation. Could somebody do something on your website and get something in return? Again, these are some very basics. Earlier on another podcast, you had said, would it be possible for somebody to find the address of your church and your church phone number in 10 seconds on your website?
Listen, it needs to be on. This is the number one thing. If you want to get me riled up, this is the number one thing that drives me nuts about church websites, because the new people and the people coming to your church want to know there's really two things. It is your contact information, which is your address of all of your locations if you have multiple. But they also want to know your service times, because churches will change them, or maybe they were going to another church. That should be like the number one thing that people can find on the front page of their website, even if they're on a tiny mobile phone. Okay.
That's right.
They need to be able to see when your church meets together and how to go to your church. It's really basic, but for some reason we like to hide it on people. You should not have to click 3 times to get to where is this location at.
So much difficulty. And to be able to watch a message is another really easy thing. And so go to your website. I know it's difficult, but try your best to think of, I'm new to this town. I don't even belong to the faith. My name is not yet written in the Lamb's Book of Life. I need to think through, what would it look like? Is this a mystery, or have they actually rolled out the red carpet for me? That's really what we're talking about. Well, it comes down to having a digital first impression, FIRST. We're so grateful for you guys. We're taking the entire month to talk about digital ministry, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lead Ministry Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and visit leadvolunteers.com for more episodes and resources. Thanks for listening.